Bless me real good, I need a hero cookie. I'm a tipper, I'm a big tipper. I'm a tipper, yeah, I'm a big tipper. I'm a tipper, I'm a big tipper. I'm a tipper, yeah, I'm a big tipper. Put up or shut up. Put up or shut up. I'm a tipper, yeah, I'm a big tipper. I'm a tipper, I'm a big tipper.
They say the rap game dead, I object, that's a low blow. Taking copycatting off each other, that's a no-no. Keep this original or just not even no show. I'm a big tipper, when I spend it, I'ma flip ya. So girl, drop it really low, show them how we floor the flow. Candy yam is sticking ball, feed me and give me more. Haters gon' hate when they see us running state to state. The way that we be tipping, man, up this on some other shit. Down on this dude, what you mean, that's another chick. Coming in, going out on some other shit. Try to rip us off, best believe it, that's a no-go. Never trust nobody, even family, that's a no-no.
I'm a tipper, I'm a big tipper. I'm a tipper, yeah, I'm a big tipper. I'm a tipper, I'm a big tipper. I'm a tipper, yeah, I'm a big tipper. Put up or shut up. Put up or shut up. I'm a tipper, yeah, I'm a big tipper. I'm a tipper, I'm a big tipper.
Neck froze on my neck, on cheat codes to the game, though. Big tipping on the regular. Then jet became a schedule. I got it straight out of mud. I do not need a judge. My money do not budge.
Welcome to the powerofvoices.com, to the Comedy Hour Live. I'm Anna Marie, and tonight my guest is, and I'm so thrilled, this is Kevin Wright. You know, I'm so happy, Kevin.
Why is that?
Because I've been saying I'm going to interview Kevin. It's Kevin! All right, I'll take it. The right Kevin. Kevin Wright. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm a little overwhelmed right now, just because this is something that's new for me, but I'm incredibly excited to be sitting here with you.
I'm so psyched that you came on because, you know, like everybody knows that I crawl around on Instagram, DMing all you guys on your Instagrams and stuff like that. And I came across, of course, Big Jazz been on. I've had Tyree.
Yep.
And the huge thing, Sean G. Grant. I love everything you guys are doing. You play the straight guy in a lot of the you know, you're that guy that, you know, trying to, the one that I saw where you're telling the story, that that endless story. Oh, that reminds me. I'm gonna I wanted to do a upload of one of your things. Lee, I'm gonna ask my sound guy, Lee, do we have time? Could you upload? He sent me. Yeah, so we can get everybody. But who writes what you do?
To be honest, it's the stuff that I do on my page is the endless stories are improvised, completely improvised, and
Really.
And the only thing that we have in order to move forward, is just like a cue word. So there was one that I was doing with Tyree that
we good.
Yeah. he's a great friend of mine, by the way. But there was one that we were doing where the cue word was C. And it was like, and I saw, and then he cuts in and, you know, he does the Tyree thing. And it was like, well, I saw a herd of ducks crossing the road. And I was like, oh, those are some nice ducks. So, and then after that, you know, they picked me up and, you know, through editing magic, we walked all the way through the house and they put me in the garage.
Yes. And they go, let's see if he's still talking. I'd seen that one. And, you know, the idea of that person, we all have that friend that when they start to tell the story, it's like, oh my God, kill me now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's going to get, my mother had a mother-in-law, Mary Bianco, a little Italian lady, and she would go, oh, there was this woman. Her name was Cherie. No, I don't think it was Cherie. Maybe she was over from the country. She did have a friend, and it would just go, and a classic of that, I don't know if you know this, was All in the Family. All right.
Mm-hmm.
That was a trademark that she would wander off, and she would start talking, and then he would just yell at her because she would just wander off as far as Maureen Stapleton was also another perfect when they paired. I mean, timing is everything when you guys are working together, correct?
Correct.
And being able to read each other.
Yep.
And everyone thinks that it's just this slap happy thing that you do, and it takes like 5 seconds, 60-second attention span, right, on Instagram.
Right.
And that it's done. It's like a lot more goes into that. You guys are usually there for a while.
Yeah, we're there all day. So, so whenever I'm shooting with Tyree, like we are on a schedule. Same with CT Team Clayton Thomas. I will come in at 1:30, provided that work doesn't like get in the way, like my day job doesn't get in the way. And what happens is I'm there at 1:30, and we're immediately getting it, and we'll keep on going until. With Tyree, we usually go about 8 o'clock at night. So that's like 6.5 to 7.5 hours of straight shooting.
Wow.
And like for me, there are some days where I'll get in on the action, such as the Never Ending Story. But I'm always the one that's shooting it. And
okay, so you're a film guy too, right?
Yeah, so like not professionally, but on the iPhone I make fire. And
are you kidding me?
Oh yeah. No, I'm not kidding you.
Well, I'm just like I'm thinking you got all this stuff going on, and that's an iPhone's.
Oh yeah. So when we are shooting sketches, or skits, as you know, some people call them, it's always on an iPhone. And I mean, we lock the light, AEAF lock. So we'll lock the autofocus, we'll lock the auto exposure, we'll turn it up, we'll turn it down in order to let more light in or to take it away. And then from there, what's the premise? Oh, the premise is A, B, and C, 1, 2, 3. All right, cool. How do you want it? And then we start blocking everything. And then from there, they'll do a rehearsal. And, after that, it's like, all right, y'all good? We good. You good? Are you sure you good? We good. All right, cool. Ready, action. And then it's amazing, to be completely honest, to see.
Yeah, it's like improv you guys do.
Yeah.
And it all comes together so fluidly.
Yeah. And it's usually the person who has the social media page will be the one who has the premise. So, CT and Tyree and I, all three of us have completely different styles. Same with Big Jaw. And also, same with DeHaan Jones and
the
Hollywood KP.
The series that Big Jaw had just started. Let me play a clip of what you do.
Yeah.
Lee's uploaded it so the audience can see.
This is actually my first ever skit too.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh,
before I learned how to shoot.
So.
Hey, yo, fam. Yeah, what's up, man? I'm gonna go to In-N-Out. What do you want? I'll take a single with small fries. Alright, sounds good. No, wait. I'll take a double with small fries. Got it. It's been a while since I've eaten In-N-Out. I'll take a double with medium fries. Alright, I want to savor the flavor. Can I have a quadruple with a large fry and a medium vanilla shake? I didn't want to eat tonight anyway.
So funny. Yeah, man, that's your first time doing that?
That was my first time.
Now, how do you do the split screen thing?
So the split screen, it's really like you're talking about the different angles.
Yeah, in other words, you're on the bed,
Oh,
right?
and then I'm in the doorway.
Right.
So
How do you marry them to?
it's man, that was pretty difficult when I first started because I had no idea. So what I did was I mounted a tripod. I have my own tripod. What I did was I loaded it up, and then I put my phone on there, and then I pressed action, and then I sat down, I said everything, and then it was like, hey bro, what's up, man? I'm gonna go to In-N-Out. What do you want? Oh, well, I'll take a Oh, okay, great. And then I would go to the door and I would do that same thing where it would be like, hey, yo, bro. Yeah, what's up, man? What do you want? Well, I'll take a single, with a shake. Yeah.
So,
all right, cool.
So now don't they have apps you can get now to do that and make it less painful?
To be completely honest, I have no idea.
Because Boogie Bees stress you out real fast. How he talks, and he's got the just a plethora of different pictures when he starts saying your hair looks like, and he's got stuff going while he's talking. Does that it is an app because he told me, and this is what's beautiful. What I love about the professionalism and the confidence of someone who knows and isn't insecure. Boogie said, I don't care who asks me for the app, I'll give it to them because they can't do Boogie. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, man. Because he's not like that. I can't give you the secret recipe. He's like, have at it.
Yeah. And I actually learned from the Sketch House themselves. So what ended up happening was
What's that back feeding?
It's a good question.
Oh, is that... Wait a minute. Is that another one? Can I play another one?
Yeah, go ahead.
We're going to play another one. Now, wait a minute. Tell me what this one is.
So this one, I'm playing a gang. Deshae and Virgil, Deshae Frost and Virgil Harris. It's like gang initiation. So Deshae has to get in. Deshae has to shoot someone down in order to get into the gang, and he just happens to walk and try and shoot me. Of course, no gun, no actual bullets were shot, but I think it came out really well. This actually blew me up on Instagram.
Ah.
Yo, you ready for this life?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yo, we about to go light up old boy down the block right now.
All right, let's go. Hurry, come on, let's go. I'm ready. Right here, it's right here.
There you go. Light him up.
The gun's jammed.
Yeah. Pull up. Oh, step, the car, stop.
He's fast. He's running.
Oh, step.
Hey, dog, please help me, bro. Hey, bro, he's helping me. Bro, hey, you need. Hey, this is not first day, bro. Hey, you need gang members? I don't even know him. I thought this was an Uber, bro. Please, let me go,
Right
sir.
there.
Please, sir, let me go, please. I don't even. I'm only 17, please. I'm not even legal to be in a gang. Dude, please let go. I thought that was an Uber. What's your favorite color? I got it. I'll be a part of your gang.
I'll be a part of your gang. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
Oh my. Yeah. And that blew you up?
it did. Because I got reposted by World Star. So,
All right, now that's a big deal.
that is a very big deal.
And you weren't even trying. It just happened, right?
I was not trying at all. No.
Wow.
So, when it happened, it's crazy.
I was gonna say, what is that feel? Were you like calling fam? Hey fam.
So I just kind of, the first time that it happened, I just kind of looked and I was like, World Star, like, nah, it can't be. It can't be World Star. And when I went to the page, it was actually there. And I was like, no. Like, Deshae, did you see that we're on World Star? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you saw that we're on World Star, bro? Like, that's a bruh. Like, I completely lost it. Like I was telling everyone at the sketch house, KP, Brandon, Jahan, CT, like, yo, I'm on World Star. And they're like, good job, man. You deserve it. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, because that's something that, that's very LA. You don't know when it can happen, but when it does, it's usually when you don't suspect, right? When you ain't looking.
Right.
And then, and a lot of the stuff that you guys are doing, you see the followers, like way before Tyrese started doing that. I had him on the show when we first started.
Mm-hmm.
And, you see his Instagram has just blown. I was like watching, oh my God, how many viewers? And the views just kept more and more and more. And everybody talked about that, they all started out, and Big Josh said, it's not like any of us started out with all the watching. It just has caught on. Right. It's just people are actually looking for those videos now.
Yeah, I completely agree. From, just me growing up, a little bit about me, we like to, at least for me, before I met Tyree, Jahan, and all that, I would see them online. Let's say that I was having a bad day. I saw them online and I was like, yo, these guys are funny. Can I curse?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, these guys are funny as fuck. Like,
yeah, right?
Like, dang. And it seems so effortless. Like, how do they come up with such great content? And whenever I was having a bad day, it would always be that I would go onto Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, back when YouTube first started, and I would see all that. And man, I'm gonna just start rambling because
no, what you're saying is that what I said earlier about you have a bad day and you go on. I like to go on because it really is to be able to laugh because the stuff it's like medicine, man. It'll snap you out of a mood, right?
Right.
And to see everything that they're doing and to have yourself become a part of it after watching, and then now you're the guy who's actually in it, and like you said, you do content too.
I do, yes.
To create content, and I don't know. I mean, when it first hit, there was a lot of comments made by some of the older comedians that they were like, oh, we talked about this about you guys translating on stage, and yet Tyree's incredible at stand up. Jahan's incredible at stand up. What happened was they take it and they've had every format that they can get their self seen on. They're actually lighting it up. I mean, they're lit as far as what they're doing. So now you got like people that you never could have reached, who if they saw, Tyree talked about taking it on the road. I mean, does that mean you bring the idea of that doing for you? I mean, do you do stand up as well?
At the moment I don't. But I would never be opposed to it. I would just have to figure out, I just have to get warmed up a little bit, it's kind of like having dinner at Thanksgiving, like people just start, saying jokes and whatnot. I'm the guy that starts saying the jokes. And, about halfway through, everyone can't eat because they're all dying from laughter. And I'm like, hey, it's actually not that funny. And they're like, what do you mean it's not that funny? Like,
and to get that formula, and that was one of the things too, is how to get that formula into something that you turn into a stand-up routine and building that. It's like, it's a lot more complex taking it from that moment than taking it onto the stage. There has to be, like in listening to them talk about, like Willie Barcena saying how he went into an IHOP and that's where he Denny's or someplace to write his jokes, and at one point they actually asked him to leave. He got thrown out because for whatever reason, he made a joke out of that. Real life situations that actually did happen became part of his routine.
Right.
So I would imagine that when you guys, obviously a lot of the skits are done on dating, relationships, the type of person we can all relate to. I think those are I love that. And the situations that is in the news, like what you just showed with the gang membership, somebody say, well, I don't know how you could make that be funny. And you do.
Right.
Disaster into laughter. That's what you do.
That is very true.
Yeah. And I mean, as far as taking it to the next level for you, more of you in more scripts, or you, I mean, where do you see yourself in all this?
I absolutely see myself in some more scripts. To be completely honest, when I came aboard, I did not just plan on doing one thing. So when I was taught how to shoot, that was great. But I was also taught how to script write. I was also taught how to edit. I also was taught how to make content. And
was that just from hanging out and being there and just being a part of it?
no, I actually contacted this guy, the guy that runs the sketch house, I Am Bmore, and I was like, hey man, so can I shoot with you guys? Like, I'm trying to create content. And he was like, well, you have to go through the boot camp. And I was like, oh, a boot camp. So I saw the price and I was like, it was really inexpensive. And I was like, okay, yeah, shoot, just this for everything that I'm about to get. And, I went through it, and the type of person I am, I put 100% into it. So I put like 100% into everything that I did. And the script writing is difficult for me. Just because like I grew up in Nebraska. So a lot of the stuff that I pull from for inspiration is from Nebraska. Like the black guy growing up in Nebraska.
I'm like, yeah, of all the places he said, I'm from Nebraska. I was like, huh? Nebraska? Black men in Nebraska? They got black people in Nebraska?
They do.
I would think that would be the last place you'd want to be.
Yeah.
There ain't no, yeah, black culture. Yeah, well.
Yeah. So, came from Nebraska, and I've been going out of my way to create more content like the one that's up on the screen right now, ready to play. And it was for me, I was just kind of like, you know what, like there's really nothing funny about a black guy in Nebraska except for being around a bunch of white people. And I also made a sketch about that. And it's kind of funny because whenever I make stuff like that, it's always received really well for my platform. So,
because that's your truth, isn't it?
Completely. I mean, that is completely my truth.
Did you end up in an area where there were that many?
Yeah.
Brothers?
So in my town, we had 9,000 people. Now it's at 7,500. But all the
black people moved out.
Yeah. So we only had 2 black families. We had my family of 2 parents, obviously, and 4 kids. And then we also had another that was a little bit more Southern, a little bit more gangster. And, they had some problems integrating into small town Nebraska society. On top of that, it was 1 Asian family, 3 Hispanic families, and the rest were white. So
wow, that's oof.
Yeah. So in about I think the population of the Caucasian or white families was like 97%.
So you basically would and you grew up. Wait, so you grew your whole life there until you came to LA? Or?
So I was actually born in New Jersey.
New Jersey again. That seems to be the town of the night, but
it's crazy. So I was born in New Jersey. My mother and my biological father divorced at 4. We moved to Nebraska to be with my grandma because my late grandma because she lived there in York. And then from there, we moved up to Minnesota for a time and then moved back. I went out to New York and now I'm out here.
Saying, I'm digging this weather, man. You sound like me. You had enough of the snow, or you like the snow?
I hate the snow. I am not a fan of the snow.
And when you fly over Nebraska, it's like the desk. It's just
It's-
flat.
it's-
squared off. Like you've never seen so much nothing. I remember going into Lincoln, Nebraska, and just being like, oh my God, how do people live out here?
Oh yeah.
How do they,
Yeah, I completely agree. It's kind of funny. This is the way that Nebraska works. Sweltering hot in the summer,
Yes.
heat index of about 120 degrees. And when you're playing football like I did, it sucks. The fall, it gets really, really hot, and then it kind of cools down a little bit. The winter is when all the girls pull their yoga pants and Ugg boots out and their North Face jackets.
So that wasn't too bad.
It wasn't too bad. No.
Did you ski?
I never skied, but I'd like to. It's definitely something that I would like to try my hand at. Hopefully I won't die. But then the spring, beautiful. If there's one thing that I like about Nebraska,
The spring.
it is the spring, because it kind of smells like a flower bed of roses, freshly blossomed. And you can just smell the life coming out of the grass.
He's
And-
poetic. I like that.
Thank you. And the trees are just swaying. Like every day you wake up, you're like, go outside, and you
Like a Smucker's commercial.
Yeah, completely. So it was pretty nice.
So, people must be really, because you're very laid back, and I can see why you're the straight guy.
Yeah.
You're that casting that they did. They fit your personality right to what you already are, and methodical. You probably choose your words wisely when you do speak.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's something that works into it, because, to be able to take what that is, because it has to be a straight guy. And where Tyree is a spaz. I mean, he's always lit. I mean, I seen him, I was driving, he's walking down the street, and, I'm yelling at him, comes over, big hug, hey, we got to that LA Minute,
Yeah.
where people actually make love in the LA Minute. And,
Right.
for that's it. They get married in the LA Minute. It's done. It's gone. See ya. But, I mean, to come out here to be so laid back, and LA's so fast moving, was it overwhelming when you first got here?
It wasn't, because I spent time in New York before I came. So I got all of my culture shock out in New York.
Really? I think LA's faster than New York. And
Yeah, LA is faster, but New York is a lot more aggressive. So I kind of saw the when I was in New York, I was like, okay, there are so many more black people here. There are so many more Italians, so many more Asians. There's still a lot of white people, but that's cool. And then when I came out here, the only thing that I really had to get used to was the driving.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. And thankfully I'm a person who likes to drive. So yeah, I mean,
to go that far is it's like a whole nother world of driving. I happen to think that people here are in love with their horns.
I agree.
I live near a busy intersection. You can always tell what time it is, near Ventura and Woodman, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the traffic starts piling up because of the lights. And then there's this the back alleys, which I take them straight across if I can. But people coming out of that little back alley, and all they do is peek their little front end out, and people are blinging on their horn like it's like, calm down, everybody. And you know what time it is by the horns. So, in my mind, I see people walking around, waiting in the line. If you could give them a horn, the way that they are out here, about even the way they walk with intent. If you go hiking up a Fryman, and one of the jokes that I made is they're also looking down 90% of the time. And I asked one of the women, I said, geez, these mountains are great. She's like, yeah. Like, why does everybody keep looking at their shoes? Don't they look the same as when they put them on this morning? I mean, just me. And we started looking, the lady goes, you're right. I go, when I first got here, the mountains, the sky, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And these people tuned in. But that, to me, even the pace of driving, it isn't so much as, it's just like all of a sudden you pull onto the highway, there's 6 lanes, and you get on, and you got to get immediately over to your left for the 134.
Right.
You know, the 101 or what have you, right?
Yep.
And then there was the first time I came up over the 405 when you're coming back from this way going south.
Oh,
and you come up
right.
at 63. Well, everybody who knows that exit, you can see all of the valley. And it looks like you're going to fall off the end of the earth. It's so like, oh my God.
Right.
When you first see the road does that. It's just, there's some just incredible things.
Yeah.
Have you done the Pacific Coast Highway yet?
I have, and I was actually just about to talk about that because the first time that my heart skipped a beat was when I passed down onto the Pacific Coast Highway. I'm be calling everything by the numbers now.
Yeah.
But no, when I was driving, I'd always heard of stories about the Pacific Coast Highway, but I've never been on that road before that moment. When I drove down, you know, I just saw everything. Just
it's magnificent.
It was, and I was just like, oh, like
that's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's that, and there's the idea of how small we actually are. You know, when you look at things. And on the road, like, you know, it's one of the things, too, that the tinted windows, and I'm watching this Rolls Royce comes up, and I'm like, damn, if I had me a Rolls Royce and I was fan, you could see me, I'd be waving at you, shit. Hi, yeah, that's right, it's me. Music blast, whatever. But, you know, I'm laughing, I'm like, yeah, people they get successful, and they want to hide.
Right.
You know, but you don't start out that way, right?
Yeah.
You want to be seen. Like you said, oh, world star. I mean, you've got this incredible, as we do as performers, right? The need to be seen.
Right.
And recognized for what your craft is. It just seems weird that you get that and you don't want it anymore. You got tinted windows. You go to a restaurant when, like Elvis used to rent the restaurants out at night or the theaters. He was known for that.
Right. And it's kind of weird whenever people, especially in our industry, they talk about the fame and how they don't like it. But what I feel like is when you are in front of the cameras, it comes to a point where people feel like they have an emotional connection with you.
Oh yeah.
You may not know who they are, but when they see you, they're like, man, do you remember that one time when you got shot? And it was like, oh.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm sorry, I don't. But, you know, you're not going to tell them that. You're going to be like, oh, yeah, of course, you know. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, who was here? And they said that they were very well known. And they said that, you know, pretending to care about what the people, if they were doing a signing or they were doing something, were saying. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you have strangers giving you all, it's a little overwhelming. And somebody saying, man, do you remember me? When I saw you, we met and diddled, and the person is like, there's no way you can remember people. But you don't want to say, no, man, I don't want to. So you just kind of go, oh, yeah, I remember.
Right.
What have you. I can't even, you know, and also that my brother worked for Steven Tyler, and I remember Steven sitting and he said, it's a whole new world. He said, anything that anyone has that they'll pay to know, you'd be surprised at what people would give up of your personal history from maybe you were in high school. He said things that you don't want anybody to know. He goes, there's those people. Yeah. He goes, and then on the other side of that, he's so famous. He said, you know, if there was a time when he was in this situation where they actually would have pulled him apart physically, like ripped him because they're so frenzy. That's what they call it, the crowd frenzy and all that. Yeah. And it's like, you know, people laugh about that. Oh, to be that famous. And yet it's no joke because John Lennon got shot and kind of changed a lot of that up. George Harrison's home being broken into, he talked about that. But John Lennon getting shot, I think, for a lot of performers. And plus there was the women that were stalked and killed that were performers. Yeah, I mean. I
think even Keanu Reeves had someone sitting in his house when he came home one time. Yeah. And like he would, from the news... From what the website said, it just said that he just had a talk with them and then the guy left. But I mean, even me, you know, I walk into a house and I see someone else sitting on my couch. I'm like, yo, man.
I'm
You
going
gonna have
in and
to-
out. You want a burger?
Like, you know,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to have a conversation here about you being inside my house.
Can you imagine that? But there's also a lot that you can do. I mean, this is the other side of being famous and having that pocketbook. That let's just take Kevin
Right.
Hart. All right, he's a bazillionaire now, and the difference is to me, like, do you ever give back? I always ask the comedians this: if you made it to that level of being able to give back, is there something near and dear to your heart that you would put yourself into as as being able to make a difference in someone's life?
Brain cancer. Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't believe you just brought that up. I was just at a party the other night, and the woman's husband has a rare form of brain cancer.
Stage 4.
He's.
I think it's myeloblastioma.
Wow. How do you? Is it near and dear to you?
It is. It's my grandma who lived in Nebraska. She passed away April Fool's Day, 2014, from myeloblastioma. And you know, if I were to you know, let's say that it's kind of difficult, but let's say that I do come into success, just like something that everyone in this industry is working for. If I find success, I would definitely give back to brain cancer
Research.
center. Yes, brain cancer
I
research.
lost my friend, 52 years old, my best friend in the world, brain cancer and lung cancer. You have the ability, and you know, kids look up to you. I mean, you'd be surprised. Has anyone recognized you, or have you had that happen yet?
Not necessarily. When I actually just came from my acting class, and the instructor was like, "Hey, have I seen you before?" I'm like, "I don't think so." And he's like, "You seem very familiar." I'm like, "Ooh, I hope I seem familiar." But you know, I've been on commercials, TV shows, movies, yada yada yada.
Do you have a lady?
I don't. I do not have a girlfriend at the moment, but you know, Kevin Wright is always looking. You know, I'm always looking for that girl. Know what I'm saying? So,
well, I mean, there's also that too. Like they say out here, it's kind of crazy because everybody's looking for, you know, access to get to, you know, to something, or to be able to use people to get what they want, and you got to be very aware of that. And I'm like, okay. Like, you know, if they think you're going somewhere and doing something, they, you know, hey man, hitting you up, or, you know, suddenly you become more interesting to women or whatever.
right.
Because I mean, I don't know if you became of that level, would you look at women differently as far as like, because guys are all saying like, you know, you got to please sign this waiver.
Yeah.
I need a witness in the room. Right.
To be completely honest, I have seen both sides of women. The ones that just want to use you, and the ones that, you know, actually care for you being there. And unfortunately, you know, in the sketch community, you do have some people that try to get on other people's backs in order to get with the CTs and the Tyrees and the Jahan Jones and the Big Jaws of the
numbers game.
Yeah, the numbers game,
right?
is
if I can get
crazy.
my face on that just once, and yeah. Well, I mean, women got the power to do that, but it's kind of like switched it up now. I think the men are more aware of like, are you really worth my career, or you guys don't all play into that no more?
Yeah, nah, not at all. We now it's more of like,
They did a skit. It was really good. Just about that, like the guys were all sitting on that sectional.
Oh.
And the women were like, hey, and they were kind of like, and the guys were all like, oh, wait, hey. Yeah, it was really cool. Because it's like something that when you hear both sides of it, And again, like I said, anything that you can talk about, no matter how bad it is, there's humor in it.
Yeah.
That you guys were able to take that, and everybody's talking about it.
Oh, yeah.
As to how different it is in the world, where now you don't know if something you did 10 years ago, 17 years. What was the one with, what's his name? Supposedly, Jamie Foxx, dick whipping some woman's face or something like that. I'm like, seriously? It's like, come on. I mean, that was actually, how long ago?
It's a while ago.
It's like, really? Yeah. So, I mean, the idea that you guys address that, I'm always a big fan of the fact when you guys can take sensitive little subjects and turn them into like, okay, let's really, this is what it comes down to, and find the humor in it.
Right.
You know? And the idea of being, like you said, persistent, consistent, as you're reading in that book, don't turn down any opportunity that comes up to you, you know, and be willing to work it harder the further away it seems from you, you know?
Right.
Because the endurance, I'm amazed, the endurance, it really is a grind.
Oh yeah, it really is. I've got probably 2 or 3 videos on backlog, like in my vault. And then I also have, you know, probably about 2 more skits that I need to edit. And I probably shot those a couple weeks ago. So yeah, I mean, aside from that, acting class, going to auditions, showing up at the sketch house to shoot with Tyree and CT and Jahan. And then also, you know, just everything else that I have to do. It really is like people that look from the outside in, especially from Nebraska,
Right.
like I used to, you know, it's like, oh man, I can do that. And then you actually get here and you actually see everything that goes into it. You see all the angles, you see all the lighting, you see all the scripts, you see this and that and this and that and this and that. And you're like, holy crap. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, I thought this was going to be easy, but
right. It's not, it's a very well oiled machine. It's something that you have to be really disciplined to do, and also be paying attention to, because with the amount of times that you guys put up postings, you want to keep it interesting.
Right.
That's the other side, you know, where the 60-second Instagram attention span is filtering into everything in our lives.
I agree.
You have to have something that is visually captivating to the eye immediately. I love the fact, too, Jahan has been adding music to his videos.
Yeah.
And it really is cool the way that works out, too. I don't know if you guys are going to run into any problems with, I mean, do you have to ask Cap BMI, get permission to use that?
Not really. Just because it's if anything, it's probably about 15 seconds, 10 to 15 second sound bites that we add to the final production. So there was this one time though where I did put a whole minute of Migos T-shirt, which is the song that I usually use for all my videos. I put it onto this one workout video that I had. Instagram instantly took it down. But you know, 10, 15, 20 seconds, I don't care.
They don't mind doing that. I think you're allowed that 60 seconds is what everybody can. Now, we had problems with Facebook shutting us down because of their rights and laws. I mean, there's so much, like you said, there's so much more behind things as to how things are thought out. And do you guys ever start a skit and go, you know what, this ain't working?
Yeah.
This ain't working. Either it's not chemistry or...
Yeah, it doesn't happen a lot, but it will happen where it's just like we just ain't got the right guy, or we ain't got the right girl. They can't do what we need them to do. So
yeah, because that too, not everybody can translate on camera.
I completely agree.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have the ability to be totally not there going as far as like, because you can't think about, oh, do I look okay? Am I standing in the right light? You have
Yeah.
to be focused on exactly the timing of the joke and what's going on with what you're dealing with.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
Were you intimidated at all when you first started filming?
Oh yeah, I was scared. I was sweating. like when it came to it, I was like, oh, okay, KP, it's like this, yeah.
Well, it's got to be intimidating to be around. I mean, the names. I mean, they're really good at what they do. They've been, and they're man.
Well, and I agree with you. When I first met, when I first went to the boot camp, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go in. I don't know who I'm gonna meet, but whoever I meet is cool. I'm not gonna worry about it. But then I walked in and I'm like, hi, I'm Hollywood KP. I'm like, man, I know who you are, bro. Like, man. And then after I went through the boot camp, there was a time where I met Troy in LA. Big Jaw.
He was,
yeah, both of those guys were there, and he's like, "Hi, I'm Big Jaw." I'm like, "Man, I know who you are, bro." Man, and then after I went through the boot camp, Hollywood KP was like, "Hey, can you come and shoot with us today?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not?" Got there, and Tyree is walking across the street, and I was like, "That is a fake Tyree." Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those guys I met open mic nights. We used to go to Cleo King had a open mic night on Tahunga, and it was a Two Roads Theater. And we used to go on Thursday, and Tyree would try out some of his stuff. And I being new to LA, I just pretty much was fascinated with everything that I was seeing. I loved the humor and all that, and I never took any of that. Like, people say, well, "What are you doing?" I said, I'm just having fun. So if it meant getting up and doing a comedy skit, you had 5 minutes. So I got up one night and I did a spiel. I'd gone shopping that day with this woman. We call him a Raven Maven. I was a salesperson, and I did this whole skit on an ottoman about how people pick mattresses from my own experience as a person. And I vented all the anxiety of shopping with this woman, and it translated beautifully on stage. Now, could I take that and do that skit every night at a show? No, with that energy, that spontaneous energy. And that was one of the things that somebody said to me. Yes, that was funny, but can you do that every night? Can you do that that's what translates that comedy, what makes comedians. And, somebody's saying there's a difference between comics and comedians.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. I never knew that, which is fascinating in the world of comedy. Could you have such dark corners to it? I mean, we all knew that because, Freddie Prinze shot himself. I mean,
right.
You see a lot of, John Belushi just partied himself to death.
Right.
But you see a lot of things that come from that. And then, like people have this thing about you guys being always so, oh, he's a comedian, right?
Right.
Tell us something funny. All the comedians talk about that. It's like, yeah, right, okay.
And even with me, I'm like a comedian actor. Or maybe an actor comedian. Oh well. In any case, I do both. And and kind of like the stuff that I've seen, when we're making everything, Deshae Frost has been, called out on the streets like, man, like, I enjoy your stuff. Oh, thanks, bro. I appreciate it. But every now and then you have that one guy that just takes everything too far, and they're like, hey, so tell me a joke. Tell me something funny. It's like, bro, like,
yeah,
I got to get ready for that, man. Like, I can't just, like, maybe I'm working on some new stuff, or, maybe I got this fire concept and I can't just give it to you.
Well, yeah, and the amount of work that goes into, like, new material and trying it out, and to hear comedians say, all right, that's not working, and they're struggling. And I'm like, oh my God, they're not, because as someone who's not up on stage, I'm like, how do they keep their composure? I mean, in this moment, the audience is dead, and they just pass it off and go, all right, I got to rewrite that and move. That's, to me, you can tell the seasoned comedians that know how to handle that moment without, and then I've seen the newbies who just freeze up, choke, and just they want to run away and go home. And, and everybody says if that hasn't happened, you really truly haven't done comedy.
Right.
To play to that audience.
And in that case, I have not truly done comedy yet then.
Well, yeah, but you get up on stage and which by the way, are you gonna do some open mic nights?
I might try after I'm done at my acting class.
Now, is that even surprising how much goes into that?
Yes, it is. Because I'm technically, well, okay, not technically, but 7 classes ago, I was untrained in the world of acting, despite the fact that I put together my demo reel, headshots, yada, 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 which people did end up telling me that they were really good. But I was still untrained. So I go to this school called Playhouse West, and it churns out a lot of successful actors and actresses. And what ends up happening is they will, well, to make a long story short, it's crazy. It's improv, and the emotions are going, and
you have
activities.
Are you surprised at how vulnerable that they have moments where they will, really. A friend of mine does acting, and I'm like, tearing it up, and he's like, yeah, you got to be willing to be raw and vulnerable, and be seen, in that moment.
And that's me. So when, about me, I'm a football player, or a former football player, former collegiate football player. I've always been the big I've always been the big, intense black dude, angry black dude. And the way that I grew up, all of my everything, all of my walls went up when I was growing up, because it was like, if I show emotion, that's weakness. But now I get into acting class and they're like, no, we want you to show emotion. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I've been starting to do that and peel everything away. And, I'm raw, vulnerable, and, that's exactly what the teachers want.
Well, yeah, that that ability to be that. I mean, some of the roles, when you think about some of the great roles, and by the way, do you have anybody that you really look up to as far as
yeah, so Dwayne Johnson, Will Smith, Kevin Hart, Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt, despite the stuff that he went through. And also Eddie Murphy was someone that I looked up to because of Dr. Dolittle. So, and then just the people that I meet are from the entertainment industry, like Michael Trevino, who was on the Vampire Diaries, and, man, other people are escaping me right now, but that
was quite a list, though. That's really kind of cool. So you when you get through with the acting classes, do they put on a performance at the end of it, or?
No. So it's more of just ongoing class. So right now I'm in beginners at Playhouse West, and after that you just go to intermediate, and then you go to advanced, and you just start making things a lot more difficult. So, but I did go to a commercial school though. Hey, I Saw Your Commercial Studios by Mike Pointer. And, he did put on showcases and stuff like that. So at some people, they're able to do that, which is amazing. But at other places, it's not really, like an acting class. They have plays. And they have stuff like that. They have a 120 hour film festival that's currently about to happen.
Well, I see you as, you're going to be writing and directing, and like you said, you want to be in all aspects of the industry of what you're doing.
Right.
Excuse me, and not just doing the idea of a lot of people go, oh, it's the comedy hour, so what do you have comedians on and they just tell jokes? I'm like, no, it's not that at all. So I really want to get behind the jokes. I really want to, showcase the idea that, what comedians go through, what it what it literally takes to do that. And I'm so glad you came on the show. I know I hit you
Thank
up.
you for having me.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe we'll do boot camp, huh?
I mean,
I think I'd be more. I think I'd be more on the show. I gotta call you up and get on that boot camp.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Do some. That would be hilarious. I got ideas. We got ideas. Thank you guys, Kevin. Wherever you're gonna be, I'm definitely gonna be following you. I'm just psyched that he came on, and next week, come back and see us. We'll have another comedian sitting in with us. Take me out, Lee, and I'll see you out there.
Have a good night, guys.
Get my order right or I'ma bust a Yui. I don't like raw fish in my sushi. Want a big tip, better get the cooking. I am not paying you for all this lipping. Sapphire diamonds, yeah, they bluey. Put them around your neck, you look chewy. Blow 10 grand, please excuse me. Bless me real good, I need a hero cookie. I'm a tipper, I'm a big tipper. I'm a tipper, yeah, I'm a